you can see if the dough is going to come together, okay? If it doesn't come together in 30 seconds to a minute, then you know something's wrong. It's either going to be too dry or too wet, basically the two things. You really can't tell if you have enough yeast in there. You just have to have faith that the recipe works and you scale it properly. Same thing with salt. The only thing is salt, you can actually taste the dough later on to see if it tastes flat, bland, like no salt, or if you have salt. You can taste that. Yeast, you really can't taste. You just have to have faith that the recipe works and you scaled it properly. So, as you can see in the mixer, if you want to come around and look, it's actually starting to come together. Yeah, it's a little dry, but it's starting to form a dough, okay? And what are the three things that's happening right now? Three things. Incorporating ingredients, okay? They're all getting mixed together. The yeast is doing what? Rehydrating. Rehydrating. Got mixed with water, it's rehydrating. And what's the last thing that's happening in here? It'll happen over the next, exactly, developing gluten. We got a dough hook in here, it's developing gluten, okay? Now, as far as mixing the ingredients, usually it comes together within the first minute. The yeast, it takes a good 5, 6, 7 minutes to rehydrate, and it takes about 8 to 10 minutes to develop that gluten strength that we're looking for. That gluten strength is important because that's what holds those yeast cells when it expands, okay? So, now it's homogeneous, it's together. Okay, if everybody wants to take a quick look. It came together and formed the dough. It's a little soft, baguettes are a little soft, but it hasn't developed gluten yet, all right? But at least it's coming together. It's not soupy and it's not dry. It came together to form a dough, okay? At this point, and this is homework, okay, for next week, we're gonna let it sit for 15 minutes. Oops, sorry. For 15 minutes. And this step is called autolyse. Autolyse. I need you to look into it, what it is, what it means, and I want at least one paragraph, I don't care if it's 2, 3, 4 sentences, what it is and what it does. What it is and what it does, okay? It's very important for one type of dough, lean doughs, when you want to do a lot of shaping, extensibility, stretchability, okay? So, one paragraph next week, piece of paper, hand it in the chef, or actually me on Wednesday. Just one paragraph. I want you to understand what it is and what it does. We don't do it for all doughs. Enriched doughs have sugar in there, okay? We don't need it. We don't shape it. We don't make long items with it, short little pieces of dough. So what it is and what it does, okay? I want all 3 books have it. Pick which 3, look at 2 of them, just so you understand what auto is. We do it just for the baguettes, and we can't afford the length of time it really does need, once you do a little reading, but we can afford 15 minutes out of our 4-hour day, okay? So we're gonna give it 15 minutes, and then we're gonna continue to mix it until the yeast is dissolved and the gluten development forms a window pane, okay? All right, so with that said, we're gonna leave this sit for 15 minutes, so what about 8:27-ish, we'll go ahead and just continue to mix it until the gluten window pane, and then we'll start from there. Okay, all right, so this dough's a little tackier, and that's okay. Sometimes if you have a little bit of flour and put some flour on your fingers, it'll come out easier. Now, we're starting to stretch it, see that? Okay, so the gluten hasn't fully developed. All right, so we need to put it back on the mixer. I don't see any yeast, that's a good thing, but it needs to develop that gluten. So we're gonna go ahead and put it back on. We'll add probably an ounce of flour just to tighten it up a little bit more, get it a little smoother. Remember, close and open, if not it'll come undone on you. All right, so we'll continue to mix this. I'm going to put this on second for a little bit. Okay, it's smoother than it was, so the gluten has been developed. It's cleaning the side of the bowl, maybe about that much in the bottom of the bowl, sticking. I don't know if you can get a shot of that. So as it's mixing, as it's turning, there's no dough on the side of the bowl, a little bit on the bottom is sticky, and that's okay. A little bit is okay, but when it's all the way up on the side that's too wet, you're not going to be able to shake. Oh, okay, yeah, a little bit of flour. So I'll leave it on 1 just until it incorporates, put it on 2 for another 30 seconds. We'll see what the window pane looks like. Remember just a minute ago when I pulled it out, it just hardly came together, okay? It was just ripped, okay? When you change gears, shut the machine off. We'll give it 30 seconds, we'll see what the window pane looks like, okay? When you make this individually for your baguettes, you're going to be using, you're only making 3 baguettes, you're going to be using a little mixer, all right? This we're making 8 baguettes, so we need a little bit larger. So if you look at the mixer in the bottom, it's clean in the bottom. It's not even sticking to the bottom. So that means when you start to scale it, round it, shape it, it's not going to be a mess on the table. So dip your finger in flour. Sometimes it helps prevent it from sticking so much. No, not really. Okay, so when I gently pull it out, okay, little rip there, but a lot better than what it was, okay? So translucent, so I'm gonna give it another, we'll see what 2 minutes does. 2 minutes. Second speed. Don't ever go third, and that's a 0 to 10 speed mixer. At the highest, like something like this, when you want it to just finish mixing, maybe 5. Okay, half. Okay, so we'll let this go for another minute and a half. We'll see what it looks like. In the meantime, let's go down and get the sheeter ready. Find me 2 sheet pans underneath, please. Full sheet pans. Okay, so let's take a look. It's been about a minute and a half. Let's take a look at how our baguette dough is going. Wiggle, pull, wiggle, pull. It's not ripping like it did before. I could see the light through it, translucent. I can see all the webbing. The yeast is dissolved. Good to go. Okay, bulk ferment. Now, for baguettes, there's all the different recipes are out there. You can use any one you like. For the one in the lab that we use, and just a suggestion, use this one first and then go from there if you like another recipe. The CIA, all right, a quarter of the, one full recipe is 8 pounds, 8 ounces. Half a recipe, 4 pounds, 4 ounces, okay? Each baguette is to weigh what? What's the criteria? 18 to 19 ounces, okay? So you can do the math. A third of the recipe probably is pretty darn close, all right? So it's not a half a recipe, because it's a little more dough than you need. You'll learn the baker's percentage. If you want to move on and do the baker's percentage, like I said, it's just a little bit of math. Every book has the different ways to get there. But do your best right now for the first couple weeks to get what you need. 3 baguettes at 18 to 19 ounces. What's that come out to be?
58 ounces.
58 ounces. Three pounds. 3 pounds is 48. Okay, each baguette weighs at least a pound. And then another 2 ounces on the low end or 3 ounces on the high end. So either 9 ounces, 3 pounds, 9 ounces, 3 pounds, 6 ounces. So as long as you get your dough as close as you can to that, all right, that's the goal. It might take a week or two to figure out the math and to do it, but that's the goal for right now, okay? So take the dough out, don't have to oil the bowl. Probably need a little bit bigger. I'm gonna scoot right here. I think we'll just use this bowl. This will be fine. Okay, this has the flour in it, okay? Don't have to wash it. Don't oil the bowl. We'll put it over in the proof box. Okay, thank you.
One of the scientific aspects of the yeast is that the yeast are asexual. When they start to reproduce, 1 makes 2, 2 make 4, 4 make 8, and they start to make little colonies. Some bakers don't think that there's enough time for those yeast cells to actually start duplicating. I believe they do. So one of the things we're also doing by degas, and Chef talked about breaking up those little yeast cells and the colonies and getting them broken up and getting into the fresh sugar, fresh starch in the flour. That's another thing it does. And you can actually see the CO2 gas, the bubbles. You just want to degas all that. And I try to keep my dough in a uniform shape as I'm working with it. So as I start cutting my 1 pound, you said 1 pound, 1 ounce, 1 pound, 1 ounce. And my first one, I'm just guesstimating. I really experience 1 pound, 3 ounces. Baguettes, yep. Well, we're just for example today, since we've got 8 pounds dough, 8 pounds, 8 ounces, we're going to make 8 baguettes
Well,
at
you could
1
make
pound,
them like in the hoagie,
1 ounce.
right? Hoagie size or what?
The what size?
Hoagies, like hoagies?
Not for the baguettes.
But I mean, you could use that.
Yes, this lean dough can be used in any type of shape that you want. We're going to make them into baguettes. They're actually going to be batards today because it's not a true baguette. The batard being the dough that really doesn't have a name and shape. So it's just a mini baguette. Okay, so we've got 1 pound, 1 ounce. Any dough that I've had to add, I'm tucking to the bottom of this. So I have a nice smooth exterior. 1 pound, 1 ounce. And as Chef Donatelli said, these scales are goes down to the 10th. If you sit there and tic-tac on the 1/10, you'll be scaling all day. Again, any exterior on the bottom. We never want to tear our dough, rip it. You're ripping the gluten that you just worked so hard on to develop. We always want to cut it. Okay, so 2, 4, 6. short. 1.1, 1.1, 1.1, 1.1, 1.1. Our scaling might have been a little off. So 13.5 on this one. I'll just make this into a smaller one. A taster for the class. Yeah. There's many times when I'm doing big batches of dough and I'll have a little something like this left over. And I've already got 64 bowls rounded, ready to go. I'll just pick off a small loaf for the house. It should equal out, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll go with 8 today, even though these are not exact. Soft rolls are looking good. Okay, so initially we've got them scaled and divided. They're all equal weight except for the last one. We want to go ahead and make these into bowls and bench rest them. And as I said before, we're shaping these into batards today. You're going to do baguettes. We do not want a tight roll on the bench rest. So I'm actually going to do a very light one. Walk around here for a second. Okay. When I start shaping, I'll give it just a little fold to start it. In. And that's it for the baguette. It's still loose. I haven't really developed much gluten after that, because once we let these actually rest for about 5 minutes, we're going to start rolling them out. And you will see the dough, the gluten start to pull everything back in. It's going to tighten back up. Lean dough, then enriched dough. We're not going to bake this on sheet trays on parchment. We're actually going to proof them on a wooden board with a cooch, which this is just a tablecloth. Got our kloosh. Typically these are more of linen fabric. These are tablecloths that we use. What we're going to do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need 2 of those boards. So, okay. So we'll probably do just 3 of these on one. So for your kloosh, we've got the tablecloth. I'll probably grab another one of these. You want to take this end and just give it a little fold like that and create a wall. Okay? Because what we're going to do is, once I shape these baguettes into their shape, I'm going to transfer them seam side up onto the kloosh with a little bit of flour. And then I'm going to take a pinch of it. I'm going to have my baguette laying right there. I'm going to do my second one. Same side up, place it down, pinch that forward. 1, 2, probably do only 3 on this one. And then I'll do another one as another demo. So 3 on this one, you'll be doing 3. And then you just want to pinch that end up again. So you can see how our baguettes are going to be proofing in here. We're not going to proof these in the proof box. This kitchen now (79). It's about 78 degrees in here. Once we turn these ovens on, it's going to warm up a little bit more. So we can proof these at room temperature underneath your station. You can just take your board, slide them underneath your station. You can, I should have left this clouche. Let's do that. There we go. That's going to be one end. Fold it up, put a baguette, 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 fold it up, put a baguette. I should have done that one more time. We'll take another clouche, lay it right on top. Keeps the skin from forming. And then we'll take a sheet of plastic out of Chef Donatelli's secret Cambro locked up back there, and we'll place that over the top. I think it's just a garbage bag. Prevents the skin from forming, keeps a good temperature. There we go. So, as far as shaping these, let's see if we can get all of these on this board. Okay. And then after they're shaped and they're proofed, we'll actually unload them onto these boards. So if you have 3 baguettes to fire, you get 3 of these boards. We'll actually take this board and the very end of the baguettes. All you have to do is lift this up and roll it onto it. And we'll do this before we fire. I'll show you guys how to do this. And just roll it over. Seam side's going to be down because we did seam side up, so we're just flipping it over. It's on the board, it's ready to go, the oven's ready to go. You've got some either semolina or some cornmeal on here. And all we're going to do is score it, 4 scores. 20 years ago. 4 scores, 1, 2, 3, 4. We may just do 3 with these because they're not at the exact weight. And then we'll take our board over the oven. It's steam, 1001, 1002, 1003. Open the door, slide this in, give it a little shake so it's shaking a little bit, and then just drop it off of there. The baguette should just lay straight. If you twist or if you pull the other way, you can have a crooked baguette as you go in there. Straight pull, oven door gets closed, steam, 1, 2, 3. Let it go. Check the recipe however long. We want to vent the steam out of there because we actually want a nice crisp crust. And then we just bake until we get internal temperature between 195 and 200 degrees, or a nice brown, golden brown exterior. We can take them a little French brown in here as well. Okay, so shaping these, and what I'm probably going to do is shape these all into just a batard size, and then roll them out into baguettes. So, take our dough. Flip it over. Seam side is up. I want to degas it. Now, recipe for baguettes. Do they call for an envelope fold for this? Do they call for the jelly roll? I didn't get that far. Okay. So, I'll show you both. And which one I prefer. Okay, so we've got it degassed. I prefer the envelope fold. It holds its seam better. And I take just a little bit of water. I want to take my top third and fold it down. And I want to take this one, fold it back up. Seam's going to be on the top. Place it down. Just start rolling and stretching. I'm pushing down in the center. I'm putting a little bit of pressure on there. It's starting to roll out. Now, I don't want to get what we call the dog bone. The dog bone. Thin in the center, wide on the edges, the old cartoon bone. And I've seen so many baguettes because we're putting too much attention on the center and not on the exterior. Just pulling and stretching at the same time. these are 1 pound, 1 ounce. Okay, we're about 19 inches right there. Let's go just a little bit more. We said what, between 18 and 19? 18 and 19. And you see I've got a little bit of a dog bone working there on the exterior, so I just want to come over here and work that out. And about 19 and a half right there. So that's about the size of the baguette that we're looking for. We've got our so-called couche. Fold it up, make our little wall. Add a little bit of flour to this. A little thick. Seams on the bottom. I always want to pull from the the edges and just roll it over. And make sure it's straight. Pull my seam up so it's straight. And tighten that seam if you need to. And the couche we just want to roll up like that. Nice and tucked. And there's our first baguette. Again, degas. And as I degas, if I start to see it, okay, I've got this elongated left to right. Does that make sense? Width, length, length. I don't want to try and roll it out like this. It's just going to be more work. So I've already got it basically shaped into a, not a circle, but a, yes. Okay. Now, the other way to do the baguette, that was the letter fold. The other way is the jelly roll, just like you're rolling up a jelly roll cake, right? I don't like this one as much because there's more seams in there. Okay, now my seam is rolling, almost like a croissant. So what I want to try to do with the jelly roll is keep that seam on the bottom. And again, applying pressure in the center and working my way out. Center and working my way out. And if you don't degas it, I did not degas this one as well as I should have. I still have pockets of CO2 gas in there. And they're going to cause a little bit of uneven bread. Now, as you can see with the jelly roll, the seam is not completely straight through there. So that's one of the disadvantages of the jelly roll. I like the envelope fold. I'll do the rest of these in envelopes. Let's see, 18, another inch. And you can imagine if we actually